Hey guys, welcome to Off-Grid Minis episode 7. So, last week we built up our little icon bearer. I, unfortunately, after the video, did mess up him a little bit with the Thunderhawk Blue, just doing some dry brushing, but that's easily fixed. I'll do that in the future. But, this week, we have our first Stormcast Eternal. So this guy's going to look something a little bit like that. Or almost exactly like that, but I'm gonna do a few little details differently, like the head of his hammer and his sword scabbard, and just little things like that. So, of course, I got my tools, my palette, my brushes, my pot of water. I also picked up something new for scenery. This is Deadland Tufts from Army Painter. And I don't know if you can see it on this guy, but it's just like little grass patches. And they had a couple other colors of it. I just figured this light gray would fit in with the arid desert or kind of marshy setting that the texture paints I have create. So for that I will also need my glue, and I'll be using my deburring tool or seam remover just to help place that a little bit. But that I might not include in the video, but I probably will, because I have to do it after the base coat dries. So I'll have to wait overnight and then do another hyperlapse in the morning once the base coat is dry, and that'll only be like 5-10 seconds long. Just placing them, putting a little glue on the bottom, then placing them, and that's it. So for my paints this week, I have my Retributor armor. That is going to be my main color for the whole thing, with the accents in Cantor blue, like the blue on his shield and his shoulder plates there. For kind of, you probably can't see it from there, but there's a little sash flying behind his sword scabbard. For that, I'm using Rakarth Flesh. For the head of his hammer, I'm going to be using Lead Belcher. That'll make it silver instead of gold like this guy's is. And just for his hammer handle, been saying it right this whole time, I'm going to be using Khorne Red. And lastly, for the base coats, I have Abaddon Black, and that's just to touch up any of the spots that need to remain black, that I accidentally get gold or blue or silver on. For my shades, I got a new one. It's Karaberg Crimson. I'm going to be using that over the Khorne Red on the hammer handle. Then, of course, I have Drakenhof Nightshade for the blue areas, like his shield and the shoulder pads of his armor. Reikland Fleshshade, that goes over all of the gold areas. It gives it kind of an aged, almost rusted, but not quite look. As you can see, these two are a little bit brighter than the completed one is, and it has a bit more of a reddish hue to it as well. And then Seraphim Sepia, I'm just going to be using on the sash hanging behind his belt again. White Scar, I am exclusively using for details, like the lightning on his shield, as well as his shoulder pads. And I might do that to his knee pads as well. I'm not sure yet. I'll decide as I get to it. Then we have the dry paints. There's Necron Compound. That is just going to give a worn sheen to the raised areas of his golden armor. And also it will make the silver head of his hammer more shiny. And then I have Thunderhawk Blue. I will be using on the edges of the blue areas, like the shield and the shoulder pads again. So that's all I've got for this week. Fairly simple. It's probably going to be the quickest one, hopefully, that we've done in the past couple weeks. Not as many little details. I've already done a couple of these guys. But we'll see. It should be a fun one to watch. Hope you guys enjoy. Let's get to it for episode 7. I just have to put my finishing touches on the base. So I said I would probably do this in a hyperlapse. I decided it's going to be so short, I'll do it in real time during the outro. But yeah, other than putting the details on the base, we got an awesome little model there. Turned out way better than my first one. I got a few more details that I was looking at before, and it just looks awesome. So I also have a little twig I worked up to make it to make it last so it's not going to rot there. I'm also going to use that as a little bit of scenery along with the deadland tufts, the grass. So I'm going to put a little glue on the bottom here and just stick the tree where I think it's going to fit best, and just hold it there for a couple seconds till the glue sets a little bit and can hold it in place. Alright, let that sit for a couple seconds. And now I have to decide which sizes of grass I'm going to be using where. So I think around the base of the tree, I'm going to use some small or medium tufts, and we'll see how that looks. So we'll start with a small one right in front of the tree. And the bottoms are sticky, but you want to still apply a bit of glue right on the wax paper on the bottom of the tuft, and then just stick it on the model wherever you want it. And preferably don't drop it like I just did. So that's the first one on. And sometimes it may take a little bit just to get the placement perfect on these. That's no problem at all. Just like to make sure the entire paper piece is coated, so that way you won't have any bits of it or any corners of it sticking up. It is. Dropped it again. And I did have it. There it is, deburring tool. Just to kind of move it along the base there and kind of push the fibers in the direction I want them to go. I can do one more small one there. Yeah, it's looking pretty good so far. Do one more medium one off to the side. I'll possibly do one or two small ones in behind them, just to finish it up. Oops. Oh, I'll do both of them, sure. Might look like a little bit too much, but whatever. And that is it. We got ourselves a battle-ready model, complete with awesome-looking scenery, weaponry, shield, and armor. So, that's it for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. And I'm not rolling at the end of this week's episode. It was already pre-rolled and determined by a buddy of mine who came to visit. So, next week, and I did mention this during last week's episode, in case you missed that, but next week's paint will be number 21, the Khorne Bloodletter, one of these guys here. So that should be a fun one. Going to be using a little more of our colors that we've got, and I will be using a lot more of the Carroburg Crimson that I just got last week. So, I'll see if I can... There's the box. So, that's a little bit what this guy should look like. Fairly simple, not too many colors. Should hopefully be at least as quick as this week's episode was. So, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you like how this guy turned out. I definitely do. So, I'll catch you next week. As always, stay classy.